Will you hang out with us? Oh. Pee. This is Beatrix. My name's Claire. Oh. Where are we going? Oh. Well, that was Beatrix, and I'm Claire, and this is the Purlwise knitting podcast. I'm not entirely sure I even introduced myself last time, so if you were here and you did watch my last video, thank you so much. Now my cat is eating garbage, so one sec. So, I recorded a few weeks ago, kind of in a big hurry because I was just nervous and so excited to do it, and I thought of the name after, and didn't introduce myself, didn't really talk about myself, so hopefully I can do a bit more of that today. I might have to record this in 2 parts because I have to go deliver my finished object to the person I made it for. So we'll see. I just got out of bed. I'm feeling, oh yeah, I'm so glad Bee's in her spot. She didn't join us for the last video, but I hope you like the presence of Bee in the background. So I just woke up, and I'm trying to get this in before I go bring this sweater to my friend. But maybe I'll first talk about what I'm wearing. It's so nice. It's this is the Isla sweater from the book Ready Set Raglan by Megan Fernandez and Lydia Golak. Yeah, I really like this sweater. I knitted it, I started it last summer. Oh, I remember it was like 35 degrees and I was sitting on my couch knitting with this like very woolly wool, which is Nutiden in the color My. Yeah, it's so pretty. Yeah, I started knitting it and it was too hot to like have it on my body, so I would knit it. I would sit like really crooked with my knitting beside me, so that I could knit and have it not touching my body. But yeah, here, I'll back up and show you more. It's a really, really boxy. You can see my tattoos through the... It's a pretty sheer sweater. With a split hem. Yeah, and I made it and I was like, I've made the most beautiful sweater in the world, which is like a really nice feeling. Yeah, I have some, I don't wear it, I'm trying to wear it more. It's a little scary to wear because it's such a light color, and I'm such a spilly person, but I'm doing my best. The only thing I'm not sure about with this is the collar, and I really like the shape of this collar, but you can kind of see here, because the lightness of the fabric, it kind of like collapses in on itself in the back. And maybe you don't notice that. I don't know. I've been debating what to do about it. I don't have any of this left because I used every single bit to make a hat for my sister for Christmas. I'm obsessed with this color. I think it's so, so nice. And I like my sister, so I sacrificed the rest of it for a gift for her, which I think she really likes, so I'm happy with it. But now I don't have any left. I was thinking of like doubling, like undoing this bind off, knitting it double thick, and then hopefully it would have more structure to stand up, but I don't have any of the color left, so it would have to be like a different color. Or I could possibly just tack it down and make a doubled like make a folded over collar, which would be nice too actually, but I don't know. Also, maybe it's not even bothering me that much anymore. I just need to wear it and see how I feel. B. I'm so glad she's in her spot. I was so nervous last time. I should have gone to get her to introduce you to her, but but she's here with us today, so that's what's important. Okay, so I'm going to show you my one and only finished object before I have to bring it to my friend. I had shown this in my last video, but I finished the Azor sweater. And it's hard to show you it because it doesn't fit me. But here, you can get an idea. Sorry, B. Yeah, it's so cute. And my friend came over and tried it on, and it fits her really well. And then I wove in the ends. Which usually I weave in the ends before blocking. And this time I did it after. And, you know, doesn't seem to matter, I think. But yeah, this is such a nice pattern. I find that Orlan Souk's, right, it's the Azor pullover by Orlan Souk. And I just think they fit really well. Round yoke isn't, I think, my favorite thing to wear, but I think the way that she does her short rows, you can see there's some short rows in the back here, and I think there are some under the yoke too. I don't know, it's just a nice, like, slightly oversized fit. It looks really good on Zinnia. As I'd said last time, this is knit in Mondim, and I'll put the shades down below because I don't remember the names. They're just numbers. They don't have color names. So, yeah. It's so cute. Here, I'll back up and show it a little more, like just on my body. That's a really funny way to display a sweater. Ta-da! Wow. This is feeling very fractured because I just woke up and I'm in a bit of a rush, but I wanted to get this done today, so yeah, I just did a regular bind off everywhere. Not super elastic, but perfect for her hands, I think. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I don't think, other than making the body an inch shorter, and maybe I made the sleeves like half an inch, I just didn't do, I ended right after the last decrease, so I didn't think you were supposed to do another 6 rounds, and I just finished it off. So I just made everything a little bit shorter for my friend, and it seems to have worked. And I'm really happy with it. So I wanted to share it with you before it goes away. Yeah, so that's the Azor pullover. I'm just admiring it. Isn't it nice? When you, I don't know, it's just so nice when you knit something and you can't stop looking at it. That's how I feel about this. Okay, I'm back. We're back. Oh, hi Bee. She does love her spot. Yeah, I had to go, but I ate something. I feel a little more grounded. Hopefully this will feel a little more organized. I feel like I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing of that previous section, but that's fine. It was very rambly, but that's okay. So I thought I would talk to you about the things I've been working on since I last recorded. There was some stuff I didn't even really touch. Okay, bye Bee. She's drinking out of her water bowl. But I had talked about in my last episode how I wanted to cast on a hat, and I did this in some a bit of Nutiden that I'd received with one of my orders from them. Nutiden is an unspun wool that I'm sure you've heard of. Pencil roving. This is a really nice brown color, but I have no idea what the colorway name is, so I've just had it kicking around, and it's not like a huge amount, but I'd previously made with the leftovers from this. I had made my sister a hat with one strand of the Nutiden and one strand of like a silk mohair, so I wanted to do the same for myself. This is actually 2 strands held together, but this colorway was very thin. All of their colorways are different blends of fiber, so this had been a very thin blend, but this one is a bit thicker. You can kind of see. So I had this, and I had bought some Bûches le petit silk mohair, which I'd never worked with before, and it's actually like so nice. It's just like feels a little more like substantial than some of the silk mohairs I've used before, and like, yeah, I don't know, it's just it's very, very soft. So I talked about how I wanted to marl it. So this is one strand of the silk mohair and one of the Nutiden, and I actually to start this I followed Isolde Teague's Musselburgh hat pattern. So I cast it on top down because I don't know how much I have, so I thought working top down was good. I probably definitely do not have enough to make the full Musselburgh. If you haven't seen that pattern, it's like it's a hat that's basically a big tube. I'm all turned around, but big tube, and then you fold it into itself, so it's like a double thick hat, and you fold the brim up, and it's super thick at the brim. It's really nice, but I won't have enough to do that. But if I'm working top down, I can just stop when I'm running out. And I really like the reverse stockinette side of this, and so I was thinking I would just go until I run out, or until it's long enough to fold it up and have this like reverse stockinette brim next to the stockinette hat. I think there's an Espace Tricot pattern called Mouton Noir, which is like a boucle hat that does that, but I'd seen a version of it that someone had done holding a silk mohair with another yarn, and yeah, I do like the reverse stockinette side, so that's my plan. I had actually knit this quite a bit longer, as you can probably tell. I had like nearly, I don't know, it was almost a full hat, and then I realized it was way too big, which is always the way with hats with me. I do have a big head, so I like get scared that it's going to be too small. The way the Musselburgh works is you cast on, and it's hard to see my increases, but yeah, you can see them there. You're increasing, and then you measure your gauge, so you know when to stop increasing. And I had this problem last time I did this pattern. I usually do the inner part on magic loop, and my tension is much tighter, especially when it's like small and fiddly. So I measured my gauge, and it was smaller up here than it ended up being when I was just going round and around on this small circular. So the hat was like, it was just like the same size as my head, basically. There was no negative ease, or maybe even a bit bigger. Like, I think my head is like, I think I have a 23-inch head, and the hat was like 23 or 24 inches, and I just hate a floppy when it's like not, I want it to hug my head. So now I've readjusted, but obviously it looks small because it's on the small circular, but I'm scared that it's too little, but I think it'll be fine. I also started knitting this and wondered if it's too close to my hair color, like, but you know, it's really nice. It's making a really nice fabric, and I should figure out how to unmirror this so that I'm not always confused, but yeah, it's just really pretty. So I've just been doing that. It's like I really like knitting with Nutiden. I like the, like, I don't know, holding it single. I've never just held it single on its own, but holding it with a silk mohair, it definitely is a little less scary and less, like, I mean, it's never scary, but you don't have to be quite as delicate with it, because holding it single, I imagine you would, it would be pretty easy to be like breaking it all the time because it's so fragile, and that I think would just mostly be annoying. But like, now that I'm knitting it with a silk mohair, I can really like just tension normally, whereas I think, yeah, just holding it single, you would have to be, and even holding it double, you have to be a little more careful. But it is a nice like knitting experience, I find. A nice knitting experience. And now that I'm holding it, whenever I pick this up, I can't help but like keep going. I can't stop. I was having trouble stopping last night when I was working on this, because it just feels good. Anyway, so hopefully that will come together soon. It's always sad to have to rip back, but I also knew I'd be much happier. And yeah, it's still pretty wintry out there, so I'm sure I'll get some wear out of it. It's kind of nice to have frogged it back and have this ball now of it held together, because that makes it a little more portable and easy, because sometimes knitting off these cakes, you're kind of having to like flop it around. Yeah, so this just makes it a little easier. Anyways, can really ramble about anything for any amount of time, as it turns out. And another new thing I've cast on since I last recorded is a sock, but this one's kind of in a funny funny place. Here we go. So I cast on this little sock. Maybe it's better over here. And I'm knitting this. Okay, I'll tell you what it is, but I'll also tell you that I'm gonna rip it out actually, but I just wanted to show you because it's pretty. It's the Wave Run sock pattern by Albina McLaughlin, which if you have seen my last episode, you'll recognize this little wave pattern. I was wearing a sweater that had it on it, and I'd made a beret, and actually this sock is like so beautiful. I really think it's pretty. But the reason I'm going to rip it out is that I'm knitting it out of Garthenor Organic Snowdonia sock, it's called, which is a nylon-free sock base. And I've never tried it before, but I've had this for a little while and have wanted to. So it comes, I actually split this ball in half. It comes in 50-gram skeins. And so I had bought 4 of them. And I started doing this, and I realized I just wasn't, like, in order to complete it, I would have needed more than 50 grams of this, obviously, to make a full pair of socks. And I have this, I'd caked up this 50 grams of the white color, and I was trying to think of a way to, like, color block it that I would be satisfied with. I don't know, maybe I'll still do that. I don't have to rip it out right away, but yeah, I think I might rip back and do a sock that is like striped, so I can more equally use up the white and this marled color. I believe the marled color is called Idwal, and I don't remember the name of the other one, but I can put it down below. It is really pretty, but a bunch of the stitches it's a little bit chaotic up here because I tried it on just with my DPNs in it, So it, like, a bunch of the stitches fell off the needles, and I still haven't picked them back up because I put it away for a bit. But and I didn't really follow the pattern because you're supposed to cast on a certain number of stitches and then increase for this little section and then decrease back down. And I didn't do that because I wanted to do a 72 stitch sock, or I just like cast that on immediately because that's what I have been doing, is 72 stitch sock on 1.75 millimeter needles. So I didn't increase for this, and it's a bit tight. So that's another reason I was thinking of ripping it back, but it's just so pretty. And I'm really liking this yarn. It's funny, I guess I've never worked with a yarn like this before. 'Cause it looks very rustic, and it like has a halo. You can see. But it's so smooth, and it does feel very strong. Like, so I'm interested to see how it'll wear in socks, but it's really, really smooth. And I think it's a blend of Hebridean and something else. But it's just got this like I've been working with a lot of sort of toothier yarns. So like when you drop a stitch, nothing happens. Like it sits there. But this, it just like ladders down right away because it has that so much smoothness to it. So I really like it. I wonder if there's BFL in there. I've never knit with BFL. I don't think there's BFL in this, but I've been wanting to try BFL because it's just so pretty, the like shininess of it. And I'd really like to give it a try. But yeah, so I'm really liking the yarn. I just realized like I very nearly just ordered more of this color. But I'm trying really hard not to. I don't need any more yarn, and I have enough to like make a pair of socks, but I just need to figure out how I want to color block it exactly. And yeah, I just need to be maybe less of a perfectionist, or maybe just do a different pattern. I kind of started these because I'm going on a trip next week, and I wanted something small to take with me. But I'm actually thinking I might take a sleeve of this other sweater that I'm working on. Yeah, so that's that. Who knows? I'm going to keep thinking about it. But yeah, the needles I'm using are, they're Haya 4-inch double pointed needles. They're really little. I really like them. I've used them for a few pairs of socks now, and I just really like double pointed needles, and I really like these short ones because they get in the way less. Sometimes when you get to like doing the heel and stuff, it feels a little bit tight, but like there's not enough room on the needles, but on the whole it's like a really nice thing to knit with. Yeah, so hopefully I'll decide what I'm going to do with that soon, if I'm taking it to Vancouver with me. I'm going to visit my sister for a week, over reading week. Yeah, oh, and I should also show you this. I'm holding them in this like cute bag. It's so cute. I was just like, it's really silly how much I like really love this bag, but it's perfect for a little sock project. I made it out of a fat quarter of some gingham. I can link it down below. It's like a zero waste rectangle bag, I think it's called. And I forget the name of the person who made the pattern, but I'll put a link to it. Yeah, I found this through like sewing Instagram, and there's a few sizes of this bag, and I really like. They're just satisfying, and it perfectly fits like 100 grams of wool, one sock, and the other sock that you're working on. So cute. There's something so nice about having a cute little bag for your socks. And I think the only other thing I was gonna show you was my Marit cardigan, which I had shown last episode, and I've actually made a lot of progress on. I started working on it more after I finished the Azor sweater. So yeah, this is one of those things. I don't know. I feel like I said this last time, but very obsessive person. But when I'm knitting on something and I'm really liking it, I just kind of like, it feels really nice to just keep wanting to go back to it and look at it. Like sometimes I just go and take it out of the basket and like look at it because it's so pretty. And yeah, it matches. I definitely, after making this sweater, was like, I love this like pale buttery yellow color, and that's why I picked this. This is Jamieson and Smith. I can put the name of the color down below, I don't remember. And yeah, at first, when I was first trying to like pick my colors for this, I had wanted to do this as the main color, but in the end I'm glad I went a bit darker with it, especially for like a cardigan situation. I think it's a little more practical. So here are my colors. These are the 4 Jamieson and Smith colors that I'm using. It's blowing out. I don't really know how to make that not happen. That's one way. Yeah, that works. And then I'm using this ball of Rauma Finull petit, just as an accent in the middle. Oh, I talked about this my last recording a bit. So last time I'd shown this, I had done 1 repeat of the chart, so I was here. So I did a full repeat and a half, pretty much. And I think, yeah, this is 2 repeats. I think the ultimate sleeve length is 3 repeats, 3 and a bit for my size. I'm making the largest size. I think it's like the 2XL. Knitting on magic loop. I'm knitting on 2.25 millimeter. It calls for 3 millimeter, but I knit very loosely. So yeah, I'm weaving in my ends as I go with the weave in Steven method. And I think, I've never done something with this much color work before, like an all over color work, and definitely my tension is like not perfect. You can see here at the join, or at the, at the end with the magic loop. At the beginning I kind of struggled with tension there. Really funny way to show you my knitting, but we're still figuring this out. Yeah, the tension wasn't great down here, but I think it'll block out okay. And as much as I would love everything to be perfect, it doesn't need to be perfect. And I find, even little finicky things like that, where when I'm knitting it, I'm like irritated with it. Once I start wearing something, I find that it just becomes part of the sweater, and I'm not bothered. But you can see it's a bit better up here. I'd seen some people recommend knitting it inside out, like this, so that you can like tension the floats properly over the gap. But I just found that really hard and confusing, and I think that like for my size it's big enough that even if the float like cuts the corner a little bit, it's not gonna make a huge it's not gonna be a huge issue. And I'm also feeling really more satisfied. This is where the increases happen, on the inside of the sleeve. And I was really trying to look for people's pictures on Ravelry to see what that looked like, because I couldn't imagine. And you can see the tension's not great here, but I think it's going to be fine. It gets better up here. But yeah, that's how the increases happen on the sleeve. They just kind of grow out of this, out of the beginning of round. And of course that's going to be on the underside. So it'll be in there. So you won't see it. Ah, wow. It's so pretty. I know, I feel really silly. I'm always like trying it on and looking at myself in the mirror. Because it's knit bottom up, I've been kind of nervous about the fit. Yeah, I'm just much more used to knitting top-down sweaters and I'm more used to that construction and knowing what to look for in the fit for myself. But yeah, so I was working on this and it was like, it's taking a long time and it's a lot of knitting. And also because it's like, it's not gonna, if I had to tear it all out, like all these ends, like I just can't. And I was realizing that as I was doing it, like I can't really go back now that I've started. I just gotta like keep moving. So I was feeling nervous about that, but then I got out every sweater that I have that has a drop shoulder. So this cardigan is pretty like boxy drop shoulder fit. So I found every like shirt that I had with a drop shoulder and I measured them and I found one that has similar measurements to the finished garment measurements of this. And that made me feel a lot better because I like that particular sweater. I like where the drop sits on me. And this sleeve is going to be a bit wider, which is actually good for this like weight of sweater. Yeah, so I'm feeling a little bit better now that I have measured that. But I'm also realizing that I had like kind of silly of me. I like ordered one less of the main color than it had called for, one less 25-gram ball, because I thought I was gonna crop it. And now that I'm like looking at the measurements, I don't think I'm gonna crop it. And so I might need to order like one more ball, which of course means I'm gonna order more yarn like for another project, because I'll be like, it's a waste to just order one ball of Jamieson and Smith. I don't think there's anywhere in Montreal that has it that I know of, so I ordered this from I think the Knitting Loft in Toronto. Yeah. Oh, it just sucks to pay for shipping again, because I never want to buy enough yarn to get free shipping, because I'm like, that's too much yarn. A lot of the places I order from, it's like $150 or $200 worth of yarn before you get free shipping. And so anyways, this is just something I'm worrying about, but we'll just keep going and see what happens. I'm probably gonna regret having made that decision once I get to like the button bands, but yeah, I just can't stop looking at this. And so now what I'm thinking for my trip is that I will, like, this isn't all in all, is not like a huge thing to carry. And I'll probably just wind off a little ball of this. And I think I'm going to try and, I'll probably finish this sleeve before I go I'm leaving in a week. Maybe I'll finish this sleeve, but maybe not. I could just bring a sleeve with me to Vancouver. Yeah, because I'm now having trouble putting this down. I can't wait to have a full sweater. Cool. Well, I guess that's all I have to say about that. So yeah, less things to talk about than last week. Not last week, it was several weeks ago, but last episode. And I haven't done any sewing. It just hasn't felt right. I've been much more into knitting these days. I should show you. This is what I usually carry my knitting around in. It's just this like huge bucket bag that I made out of it's like a Lion brand Thick and Quick or something, I think. And I marled 2 different colors here, and then just held 2 strands of the gray up here. I made this last winter out of some old was like stash yarn from when I was a teenager that was in my mom's house, which I think we've donated a lot of that now because it was an overwhelming amount of yarn. I did bring some of it back here, but yeah, I made this when I was at my mom's last winter. I went back there for Christmas and stayed for a few months. But yeah, I just like carry this big basket around the house and it's full of frog and toad are in here, but I didn't touch them at all. Yeah, so that's probably all the knitting that I have to talk about. It's funny because I think I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing to the first part that I recorded this morning, because I hadn't eaten yet. It was first thing in the morning. Here we go. And I feel like I was just so, just a little bit rambly and out of it. But, so I don't know what I need to say now. But yeah, I definitely kind of procrastinated, recording this second episode because I don't know, I felt like I didn't really have enough to talk about, but I guess I've been talking for a while now. And, you know, it's probably enough. I know I always like to watch these podcasts, even if people don't have a ton of new projects. So I hope it was interesting enough. Yeah, I want to say thank you to everyone who watched my last episode and who subscribed and liked and commented. It was really encouraging for me, and I probably, even if no one had watched it, I would have still recorded another one. But yeah, it was just so nice to see that people were really interested in what I was doing, and that I wasn't just like talking into the void. So I'm gonna try and respond to all those comments. I know I haven't gotten to all of them yet, but what are you doing, honey? I really would like to answer everybody, and because I'm really grateful that you watched, and I hope you liked this one as well. Yeah, and I didn't really talk about myself last episode, but I could just give you a brief outline of who I am and what I'm doing. So I think I mentioned in the description last week that, sorry, when I bonk the table, it jiggles the camera. Yeah, I live in Montreal. I'm not from here, but I've lived here for almost 9 years, like 8.5 years. And I'm currently doing my second master's degree. I'm doing a master's in translation studies, so to become a French-English translator, like written translation, not interpretation, not live interpretation, but yeah, so right now I'm taking like some literary translation classes and some like translation theory classes, and that's my main focus at the moment. I'm also, since living in Montreal, I went to hair school, so I'm a very part-time hairdresser. I have like a studio space not too far from home where I go and do haircuts. I have a chair and a big mirror, and it's really nice. I've just been getting back into that because of the pandemic. It's just felt not so safe to do. I've kind of been gauging it like based on if people start asking me for haircuts. I'm like, okay, if people are asking, it's probably safe. People are feeling okay about it. So yeah, when people start checking in and asking for haircuts, then I will go in and do some. And yeah, I usually try and do 2 days a week of a few haircuts, and it's a lot of like friends and friends of friends. Yeah, very kind of informal job. And what else? My background, my previous master's before this one was in fine arts, so I have an MFA. in studio arts, and I was in a program called Fibers and Material Practices, which, you know, I'm doing a lot more knitting since finishing that. I wasn't knitting as part of like my artistic practice at all, really, because it's always been more of a like practical garment skill for me. Yeah, but I have an MFA in fibers, and before that, previously a BFA that I did on the East Coast, and that degree was in painting and printmaking. Yeah, so I spent a lot of my time in art school, and with a little hair school break in between. Someone the other day, I was cutting their hair and they said, "Mate, you might be my most educated friend." And I was like, oh God. Ooh. I've done a lot of school. Big fan of school. Not a big fan of committing to things. But, you know, that's maybe a conversation for another day. But I'm really enjoying learning more about translation, and could really see myself doing this full time. And so that's what I'm working towards at the moment. Yeah, so that's a little bit more about me. And today you got to meet Beatrix. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I won't drag this out too much, but it was nice to come back and be here. I hope this wasn't too chaotic of an episode, and hopefully I can edit it into something cohesive. I'm gonna try not to rush through the editing process as much as I did last time. I just was so like eager to start last episode because I'd just been thinking about it and putting it off for so long. So I'm trying to be a little more chill this time. With my first episode, I like got up in the morning, like did my hair, did my makeup, wrote my notes, like recorded. I don't know, I just managed to spend a whole day making that first episode, and I like didn't stop and like didn't eat, and like, yeah, I mentioned before, I'm like a person who gets very hyper fixated on things, and I'm trying to take things a little slower, but I'm really glad that some of you enjoyed it, and I hope that you enjoy this one, even if there's a little bit less content, but hopefully I'll have some finished things. I just can't stop looking at it. I hope that other people find this really pretty too. As I mentioned in my last episode, I added more colors to the chart than are in the original pattern. Anyways, well, yeah, thanks for being here. Since Bee's having a bath, maybe it's time to go. Yeah, I hope you have a great day and a great week, and I have cat hair on my face. If you like this episode, please feel free to leave a comment. I would love to read it and know more about you and what you're working on as well, and I'll do my best to respond. As I'm not that quick, but I will respond to all of them that I can get to. And yeah, thanks so much. Bye.